I don't know how to really start this video other than just to tell you guys that Gato, the cat that we've been taking care of for the last couple years, that you guys would hear meow in the videos and that I would show periodically, and she'd come up to me and love on me and rub on me and stuff like that. She's no longer with us. I put a community post out, and some of you may have already seen that post, and I appreciate all the love and support, but I felt like making a video and letting you guys know, especially for those of you that followed me because of what we do with animals. We bring animals from the neighborhood that are lost into our home, and we let them stay here until they find their owners, or the police bring them by when they don't have nobody to drop them off with, or we're just a very animal oriented family, and we love all of them just like they're our kids. And Gato's been with us for 15 years and 4 months. Gato is a very, very special cat. I don't want to get into the specifics on why, but she was a family cat. She was passed on to us, and she's had a very, very good life. She loved being pet and touched and loved on, to the point where after a few minutes of scratching her and rubbing on her and stuff like that, she'd start nibbling on your fingers or your forearm or your leg or something to let you know, like, hey, this is really feeling good, but it's kind of overstimulating. Stop. She was such a sweet cat, and she had her own way of communicating with you. She had her own way of just making it known that she was there. My wife had a cat growing up for 19, 20 years. His name was Stubert. Stubert, we lost a couple years ago. I'd say probably three and a half, about 3 years ago. When Stubert would be up at night, he would walk through the house at night and he would go, and he would make these deep groans, and it was just a Stubert thing. He was older. He still had a lot of spunk left in him, where he would run around and swat at the girls to keep them in line and stuff. There was another cat, Stella, that she passed away as well after Stubert. No, before Stubert. After Stubert, yeah. Stubert was about three and a half years ago. Stella was about 2.5 years ago. And now Gato, I had to have her put down today. Well, Stubert would make those groaning sounds and stuff at night, and Gato and Stella would listen to him make those sounds. We always thought he was in pain, but he wasn't. It was just him like singing or making noise because it was so quiet at night, and he wanted to be up playing and moving around. Well, after Stubert was gone and then Stella was gone, all of a sudden, a couple years ago, Grandma's taking care of Gato, and I said, look, let's bring her to our house so we can spend a lot of time with her. Grandma doesn't have as much time as we do, and we wanted to really make sure that the last years of her life she was very well taken care of. And all of a sudden, she moves in, she gets settled, and in the middle of the night, I hear like these deep tones like Stubert used to do. Now they're coming from Gato. And I don't know if it's this their way of communicating when they get old. And I don't know. It didn't seem like he was ever in pain when he was doing it. It just seemed like it was too quiet in the house and he wanted attention. But Gato started doing that a few years ago. She's been great. She's been a great cat. And about 6 months ago, her health started to decline. She started to get real thin in the back. Muscle mass started to drop. About a month into noticing this and getting scheduled to go to the vet and lab panels and stuff, it comes back that she's got a thyroid problem. So we started her on thyroid medication. The first month, or the first trial, I think it was like 3 weeks with one pill, and then take her back. Didn't really show much of a change, a little bit, but not much. And the vet says, all right, let's do 2. 3 weeks later, it's getting better, but it's not where it needs to be. Let's do 3. We do 3, and it's like, okay, now we're starting to notice the change here. Well, about a month and a half goes by, and I noticed that she started throwing up in the morning. Whenever I'd get up with her and I'd feed her and give her her medicine and stuff like that, she would throw up almost every single morning, and then sometimes a couple times during the day it would be clear or like a yellow bile looking type fluid. It wasn't like a hairball or anything, it was throw up. And no food was coming up with it. It was just basically fluids from in her body that were coming out. Took her to the vet again and explained to the vet what was going on. He looked at her heart and he's like, wow, her heart is beating way too fast. And with her heart beating that fast all the time, it's moving so much fluid through her body that her body can't process that fluid. The blood and stuff is carrying everything so fast through it, moving it around, that the fluids that need to get out to be processed out and digested and stored and stuff like that can't, because they're, so her reaction is to throw this fluid up and to give her body a break because her heart is beating so fast. So we're going to have to start her on some heart meds to slow her heart down. Well, that worked for about a week and a half to 2 weeks, and the throwing up started again, and the heart pills weren't really working too well anymore. Over the last week, I've noticed that she's got even skinnier. She started to stay away from us even more and like hide in the closet. She started having accidents where she would just go to the bathroom anywhere in the house. Almost looked like she would stumble over her feet just standing still, like she would almost want to fall over. And then when she would go to the bathroom, you know, it would be like whenever a cat would go to the bathroom, they get a nice full bladder, they release it, and done for a while. Her bladder, she could just get a little bit in her bladder and she had to go right away. Almost like she had a UTI, but she didn't have a UTI. She just couldn't hold fluids and stuff in her body very well, and her body was starting to shut down. Last month she lost a half a pound of muscle mass, and we tried to give her more foods to fatten her up a little bit and stuff, and the vet said you can try that, but chances are whenever they get to this point it's pretty close to saying goodbye. Their body's starting to shut down. She's old. She's 15 years old. She's lived a long, strong life. And after watching this happen and the slow decline for the last week, I couldn't watch it anymore. I just couldn't watch it. So I got the family together and we all talked and we all said, you know what? The right thing to do right now at this point is to let her go. Let her cross over the rainbow so she can go meet with her brother and sister and play forever and ever and ever. Because we don't want to keep feeding her pills and keep nursing this and keep... We see, especially over the last couple weeks, she's not doing well. So it's time. And I let the girls have a break from it so they didn't have to see her. And I held her in my arms while she was being sedated. Or they gave her the sedation shot on the table and then gave her to me and said, hold her, she'll fall asleep while you're holding her. We'll be back in the room in about 5 or 6 minutes. So he comes back in like 6 minutes later, and she's still fighting it. And he was like, wow, man, she's still standing up. Normally cats are asleep by now, and the problem is her muscles are so thin where I got to give her the shot. It's not absorbing properly. So now I'm going to have to give her another sedation shot in the front of her muscle, like in that leg, in the fatter area. And let's see if gives her a shot there, and about 3 minutes later, she's knocked out. And then he comes in about 5 minutes later and he said, it's all right, it's time. And I'm bawling my eyes out, and I put her on the table and lay her on her right side so the paws are towards the vet. He gets his shaver out and shaves her leg, gets a tourniquet out and puts it around her leg so the vein pops out a little bit more, and then he slowly gives the injection to stop her heart. And I don't need to tell you any more than that. She gasped for air a few times, and that was it. It was all done in a matter of a minute. She was at peace, and we love her to death, and I'm gonna miss her. I'm not a cat person. Why do I care, right? Because she changed my mind about cats. So, she will no longer be in my videos anymore. You won't hear her meowing in the background like she obnoxiously did. And she'll be very missed. Very, very missed. But I wanted to share that with you guys. Instead of just a community post. There's some of you that follow me because of the animals. She's not with us anymore. But we still have our 2 dogs that we rescued. Jax is doing very good. He's the dog that we got a year ago. Actually, I think a year and like 5 days or something like that ago, when I did my first video on the lady that lost him for a month and then never wanted him back. And then Peyton, she's been with us for 5 years. She was a rescue. And she's still doing very good, very healthy, both dogs. Okay. I just wanted to share that with you guys. Thank you for listening to this. Take care. Be blessed. I'll see you all tomorrow. Some kind of automotive video or something like that. Good night. Sleep well.